Our next speaker is Maxton Scotland, and Maxton is Executive Chairman of Rotaract Global Model United Nations, the international youth decision-making body, and Communications Officer for, this is a separate thing, he's Communications Officer for Canary Wharf Group. And I met Maxton when I spoke a few months ago right here at the UN to one of his conferences, and I really thought that he belonged here to talk to you, so he flew in from England to do so. He will share with you how these impressive conferences are encouraging our youth to have a stronger voice and a better understanding of global affairs. Maxton?
Thank you very much, Helen. Good afternoon, everyone. How many of us has ever heard of Rotaract Global Model United Nations? There you go, approximately 0.5% of the room. Now, Rotaract Global Model United Nations literally started in a barn in Romania in 2013. It was two inspirational young men, Rotaractors from the club, Rotaract by a Myra Club, who went to a conference in Brussels and thought, hang on a minute, we can actually do something with this. We have Rotary International, but we do not have Rotaract International. So from there, since 2013, we have evolved into an international conference, and our most recent success followed from Myra to London in 2014, Serbia 2015, and it recently concluded in Bulgaria, Sofia, Bulgaria 2016. And we have just recently announced, approximately half an hour ago, that next year's conference will be hosted in Beirut, Lebanon, by Rotary Club Al Mechana. I'm not familiar with the pronunciation in Arabic, so forgive me if you're from that region. But it's an inspirational thing and an exceptional thing to have young Rotaractors and interactors to partake in global initiatives and to give them an insight into the United Nations. So I think my purpose here this evening is to basically give you an insight as to what we have been doing over the past 3 years with very limited resources, but we have been getting the job done. So just imagine if we had 100% support from Rotary International. So with Helen's help, we will get there. So as I said, Rotary Global Model UN started in 2013 by the Rotary Club of Myra in Romania. It attracted the attention of MUN lovers across Europe, and now we do have an international following over all 6 continents. We have successfully partnered with other organizations that share the same belief as us. This is not only important to Rotary Global MUN, but for the Rotaract and Rotary International following as well. We believe that Rotary International is our chief cornerstone, and we do follow the tenets that do govern Rotary International. We have recently concluded one of our largest conferences that was held right here in March in 2016, where we saw over 2,000 young persons congregating here at the United Nations, representing different countries that had no bearing on their personal life. For example, just think about someone from Iran, being selected to represent the United States of America on this United Nations Security Council. We have a conflict in belief, someone from Iran who believes totally different, something different than that of the person of the United States of America. But then they themselves do get an insight as to what it is to understand life from the perspective of a young person in the United States of America. Or someone from Lebanon or Afghanistan, being selected to represent Serbia on the United Nations Human Rights Council. Total different perspective, but they do get to see life through different lenses. So that conference was a success, and Rotaract Global Model United Nations also presented the committee or the conference with one of the most diverse committee that the conference had ever seen, and that was with a partnership with Change Our Global Model United Nations and Diplomatici, which is an Italian-based Model United Nations conference. We presented a panel of over 144 persons representing over 53 different countries and 21 different languages. So that tells us that there is a longing and there's a void there that Rotaract, not just Rotaract Global Mother United Nations, but Rotaract interactors and friends of Rotary can fill in the lives of young people. That passion is there, and as one speaker said earlier today, it is not only about power, but it is about passion. So once you have that passion, it doesn't matter how much power you have, you're standing in society. You have the passion, you live it, you dream it, you breathe it, and that vision will become a reality. And that is one of our aim here at Rotary Global Mother United Nations. Recently, we decided that we need to give more to our young people. We realized that after a conference, a 3-day intense conference where young people battle with each other on foreign policy, on international relations, on politics, trying to find that compromise in society, we realized that when they go back to their home country, that longing is gone until the next conference, because these conferences are just held once per year. So we decided, myself and one of the founding fathers of Rotary Global, Emir, decided that we needed something more, precious or personal to these young people, and we decided to create what is now known as the Rotary Global Mother United Nations International Youth Decision-Making Body. Now, this is a very unique organization, and we selected 11 young persons from across 6 continents, representing 7 countries and 7 different languages. Only heaven knows sometimes how we come to agreement on during our meetings, because it's different languages. You have Greek on one end, you have Dutch on the other, then English, and then you have Arabic on the other. So it does get crazy, but we do get the job done, because that's why we decided to volunteer for the next 3 years to represent on the International Youth Decision-Making Body. Also on the body, we have representatives representing the 6 continents. So you have, for example, myself, apart from being the executive chairman, I'm also the representative for the African continent. Now, Africa has got like 1.4 billion people, which is expected to rise, over 3,000 different languages, and we're talking about over 2,000 different cultures and 54 countries. So just imagine, my job is not exactly an easy task, but at the end of the day, my job is to integrate not just Rotaractors, but interactors and young people in general, and create a cohesion between all youth non-governmental organizations on African continent to achieve the goals set out by the United Nations, the Sustainable Development Goals, and the ideas of our Rotary International as well. If I'm boring you, just tell me. We believe that Rotaract prides itself in representing a plethora of cultures and languages practiced in several countries. Effective communication, as the epitome of these attributes, is an avenue through which people seek to identify best ways in which to understand each other. And this happens despite the various cultural and language barriers which we are confronted with daily. Accomplishing this task has been increasingly difficult. Indeed, differences in culture, language, and history continue to stall progress towards mutual understanding and across all regions of the world today. Nevertheless, it is my firm belief that the onus is upon young people like myself, who express a strong interest in playing a mediatory role, to contribute to the development of the mind of young people. It is with this overarching goal in mind that each member of the newly formed committee has agreed to be part of the changing network, the Rotaract and Rotaract Global MUN International Youth Decision-Making Body. With increasing global interaction as a result of globalization and trade liberalization, it is imperative that individuals are equipped with the necessary skills to effectively navigate around the cultural and ideological changes and differences that invariably arise. It is against this backdrop that the need for this committee must be realized, and with the support of Rotary International and the UN Rotary Representative Body, it will be a huge success. Our hope here at Rotaract Global Mother United Nations and the Rotaract International Youth Decision-Making Body is to bring together intelligent young people from across the globe with first-class knowledge, skills, and overall expertise in effective communication and mediation, with a second-to-none understanding of cultural sensitivities. It is my belief that this opportunity will undoubtedly prepare our youths for a successful career in the field of international diplomacy, which in the end will combat world inequality. Given our special focus on media, intercultural, and national security issues, we firmly believe that together we can accomplish the ideas and the tasks set out by the Rotary International body. As I said earlier, the committee is made up of young people from all across the globe with the sole purpose to continue to instill a greater appreciation of both differences and commonalities, as well as challenges involved in promoting a culture of peace and mutual understanding in this connection. Should we receive, hopefully, which we're seeking today, should we receive official endorsement from both the Rotary International and the UN Rotary representative, we will endeavor to continue burgeoning mutual understanding amongst whomever we come in contact with across the globe. I believe the time has come to launch out into the deep and unite the bridges that so easily divide our nation's youth. Indeed, it is my view that a firm conceptual framework like that envisaged by this committee will go a long way in bridging this gap that we now see between Rotary International and Rotaractors. We firmly believe that the time is now. If there has ever been a time where Rotary and Rotaract must work together to achieve the ideals of Rotary International, is now. It is not tomorrow, it is not next year, it is today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maxton. And if you've never been to one of these conferences, the Rotary Global Model UN conferences, you really have to experience it. It's the most beautiful thing to see. And the politicians could certainly learn a lesson by watching these young people. I've watched it from countries all around the world, getting to know each other, bonding, learning, as Maxton said, about each other's countries, learning empathy, which leads to critical thinking. Thank God these are our future leaders of the world, and we've got to help support all this to have a better world. Before I go on